start with the hanging lock with a pin. As you can see, it is closed. Let's take an ordinary screw, insert it into the well, and begin to tighten it smoothly with the screwdriver. It's not that hard. When the screw fits tightly inside, we take a crowbar and pry it, pull it, and pull the mechanism itself out of the lock together with the screw. The mechanism is outside, which means nothing will prevent us from opening the lock. To open an ordinary suspension lock, you will need 2 wrenches. Hook them on the shackle and start spreading on opposite directions. And here are some examples of how it works in real life. Even on the door, or even on a gate. And if the lock is too big, add an extra stop between the keys. A little more complicated, but the lock still tends itself. This method also works with combination lock. If the lock does not give in, try to change the position of the key so that the pressure is directed to the upper part of the shackle. He will definitely not resist this. And yes, this method will work with the padlock, although it takes much more effort than all previous locks. This method is universal, but after that, the lock will already be decommissioned. And here's another way to open such locks. To begin with, we'll fasten it. And now, we need a gas burner. Unscrew the gas to the full and then install the burner directly opposite of the lock. This method will take a decent amount of time, so it's better to fix the balloon in place. Gradually, the flame will burn all the paint and then begin to heat up the metal of which the lock consists. When the temperature becomes critical, the lock will gradually melt and crumble. It will only be necessary to help him a little with the wrench. That's it. The lock is open. And here is the metal that has fallen to the ground. It was aluminum or another fusible metal. However, with the steel lock, this trick is unlikely to work. Now, something more interesting. We have handcuffs next. Throw away the key and lock them on my wrist for the purity of the experiment. As you can see, everything is reliable. Now, we need a regular hairpin, or rather an en-bloc metal plate. Driving it into the groove, we will push the fastening off the handcuffs off of it and they will open. It's even easier to do it with a free hand. Overlapping the thread inside, the barrette does not allow the handcuffs to function normally. That's all. And next, we have a combination lock. And that's how it works. We'll pull a shackle 180 degrees, Click on it and make a random combination of numbers. After that, we pay attention to the shackle and close the lock. Rearrange the numbers and the lock is closed. To open it, first align the numbers and pull the lock. Lock it in this position. We check the reels. The drum moves freely, then the digit is not part of the code. And if it is tight, then you guess the number. Now, you need to find the right number for each reel. It may take some time. Until the castle finally opens, and most importantly, after that, the castle will remain intact. And now, we'll show you how to make a lockpick from an aluminum can. We will need such a small plate on which we make 2 shallow incisions, bend the sides, round off the central part with scissors. Now, let's close our test lock with the key. We drive our master key into the mechanism of the shutter of the shackle. You will need to make an effort, but the lock will open. If the lock has 2 locks, then we will need 2 lock pins. As you can see, combination lock has a similar shutter mechanism. So, let's check our lockpick on it too. As you can see, combination lock has a similar shutter mechanism, so let's check our lockpick on it too. It's a little more complicated because of the shape of the shackle, but this lock also lends itself. In addition, it retains its working capacity. Let's take a hammer and a single bolt lock. Let's hit the castle hard with the hammer. On the second attempt, it opens. And at the same time, maintains integrity. Let's try it again and again. Success! Let's check on the lock with 2 locks. Unfortunately, no matter how much we beat, the lock remains firmly closed. Take an ordinary paper clip and straighten one of its ends. Now, we will need pliers for fine work. We create this shape. We fold the second paper clip in this way and bend the loop. Here is such a master key we have turned out. Let's check it in practice. When the key enters the well, its thread lines up all the cylinders in a row and the lock opens. We will be able to achieve this with a little help of our tool. It's not as simple as it looks, but it works. Let's do it with the old padlock. We had to work blindly, but we succeeded. As you can see, this is a very painstaking and time-consuming work. In order to do it faster, you will have to get the hang of it. But then, any lock will give in to you. Such master key can be made from a hair clip. She will work exactly on the same principle, not all inferior to her colleague. Let's take an inexpensive padlock and close it. From the side of the mechanism, we will gradually scrape off the top layer of zinc with the screwdriver. At some point, you will see the silhouettes of the cylinders on the body. Now, let's take a thin drill and start sawing the cylinders. After that, the mechanism will simply crumble. It remains only turn the weld with the screwdriver and the lock will open. Some locks can be opened with the kitchen knife. By inserting it at the right angle, you will easily push through all the cylinders. It remains only the crank and the lock will open. Of course, it is more difficult to do this blindly, but with proper skill, any lock will give in to you. With this method, the locks do not break, so you can continue to use them. Let's take a pin and cut off its head. We will push a pin into the well and try to find the cylinders. Then, we will put a screwdriver and try to turn it with effort. The lock is open. Let's try again and again with success. And now, we will show you how to copy keys with improvised tools. The key role in the key is played by its carving. Let's heat the key with the lighter. When it is covered with a dark layer, we will attach a sticky tape to it and remove this dark layer. The drawing was printed on the tape, and now we will transfer it to a plastic card. Using scissors, we will cut out the key according to the silhouette, paying special attention to the card. Now we have an extra copy. Let's check it out. The lock opens on the first attempt. Such a copy can be made from a jar, a bottle, and a battery. And also from 4 layers of paper or even 10 layers of ordinary tape. For copies made of soft materials, surely you have received a paper cut at least once in your life. Well, today we'll make a real saw out of paper and see what we can cut. To begin with, we need to cut out squares with a side of 15 centimeters and 3 on ordinary sheets of paper. Then, with the help of ordinary stationery glue, we will fasten these squares together so there are no blisters left. And the surfaces are completely covered with glue. And of course, we'll press them down tightly with an improvised press. Now we need a compass on which we have previously attached a sharp blade. The radius of our future circle will be 6.3 centimeters. Stick that needle in the center of the square, make a tight stop, and start moving the compass. The paper lends itself easily and we get a perfectly smooth circle, but that's not all. With the help of a grinder disc, we'll mark a hole in the center, and then again with the help of a compass, we'll cut a small circle from there. Our paper disc is ready. The only thing left is to play it on a grinder and secure it in order to avoid traumatic situations. Turn on the grinder. Great! Our paper saw is working and is ready for testing. Let's start with something simple. Cardboard is essentially the same paper. Let's see if our saw can handle it. Oh, yes! Paper saws cardboard without any difficulty. Just look at what an even cut it leaves behind. It seems that this test was passed perfectly. Now, let's take a pencil. In a matter of seconds, the paper saw will deal with it too. What about plastic? Plastic cover lends itself easily to our saw, but what if plastic was denser? Let's see what happens to the plastic pipe. The process is much slower, but we can clearly see the result. The paper, although with some difficulty and manipulations with the position, copes with the plastic pipe, retaining a fairly smooth cut and a little plastic dust. It seems that nothing will stop it. The plastic panel turns out to be much simpler test, and our saw deals with it in a matter of seconds. Here's such an undulating slice we got. The stakes are higher now. We have a wooden piece. Here, you already have to put a lot more time and effort, but the progress is noticeable. The paper enters the stick and continues to cut it. It's incredible. Even a slight deformation of this does not stop our paper saw. We're almost there. And yes! The wooden stick is sawn without any problems. Pay attention to the burnt trace. And we have a ball of rubber bands next. Let's see how our paper saw will cope with it. Almost immediately, the rubber bands begin to burst under pressure. It seems this test will also be simple, and we cut this ball without any problems. Oh! The inertia from the rubber bands threw the ball away from our saw. But in general, the test passed with flying colors. We cut the ball of rubber bands without any problems. Now, let's see what happens to the coconut after a collision with our paper saw. Sawing a coconut is not an easy task for a conventional saw. It is important to smoothly move along the entire radius of the coconut, so as not to make a hole through which the contents will pour out entirely than we would like. We continue to move smoothly around the perimeter of the coconut, and it seems to be very easy for the saw. The disc starts to shake a little even when we're already close to completion, but we will still connect the ends of the cut to each other. Put down the saw and easily open the coconut with the knife. Yes! We did it! Even the coconut couldn't resist our paper saw. It's incredible!